I hope you're seat belted in for this because I want to show you a rare crystal clear display of somebody really struggling with cognitive dissonance and the companion psychological disorder of Stockholm syndrome. And this video right here centers around this guy. This is Chad Prather. He's a very popular comedian, conservative commentator. He's got millions of people following him. And I want to show you this struggle right here. And just to refresh your memory, cognitive dissonance is basically mental disharmony. It's when you're trying to hold two mutually exclusive, diametrically opposed beliefs at the same time. In this guy's case, he believes that Trump is going to save America, that he's going to make America great again. But it doesn't make sense that in making America great again, you're going to cover for one of the largest elitist global pedophile / blackmail rings known to humanity. And then we're going to see a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome because he literally says in this video that, quote, we've been turned on by Trump. And he's referring to, and I don't think I'm going to hang around long enough for him to go over this last Truth Social post by Donald Trump. But basically he says, we've been turned on. And then he says abusers gaslight. And by abusers, he is talking about Donald Trump abusing them and gaslighting them. And then he says, quote, we're being gaslit. Psychologically speaking, what did the supporters of their abuser suffer from? Because he knows he's being gaslit. He knows he's being turned on and betrayed by Trump, just like a whole lot of other MAGA supporters. And yet they continue to support their abusers. What are the supporters of abusers called? What are they suffering from? They're suffering from Stockholm syndrome. That's where the abused feel this trust, affection, or loyalty toward their abusers. Check this out. This is absolutely fascinating.
Well, what a day we're having, huh? There's a lot to get into. Obviously, Donald Trump has gone off on his supporters, or as he called them, his past supporters, over the, quote, Epstein hoax. I'd love to get your take on that. I think I know a lot of it. Yeah, listen, Donald Trump has done some great stuff, folks. He's done some great stuff. We didn't support him blindly. We're not going to stop supporting him blindly.
You absolutely supported this man blindly, Chad. Father of the vaccine. Give me a break. The biggest power and wealth transfer in world history, not just American history. $6.2 trillion to the big pharma industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, and the corporate elitists, and very little went to Americans. Bought by the Rothschilds international banking cartel back in the 1990s. 25 years later, he gives the employee of Rothschilds Inc. the Commerce Secretary job. That's Wilbur Ross. And that's just scratching the surface. We haven't even talked about red flag laws, bump stock bans, like take the guns first, due process second, and all the other unconstitutional, immoral things Donald Trump has done to America. And you're saying you didn't blindly follow? Yes, you did. It was willful blindness. It's not that you didn't know, because I've seen a lot of people, including me, warn Chad Prather and all the other conservative social media influencers. So what's really alarming is that they didn't see Donald Trump as being a poison pill in the well of America. What's going to happen next time around where there's a smoother talker, a more convincing liar, somebody who might have a cleaner record? They're going to fall for him hook, line, and sinker. You can't come to us after the fact and get our trust when something this stark happens, where it's clear Trump is being an abuser. He's being a gaslighter. He did turn on his base because they're believing something the Dems made up, the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. These guys don't get any slack. This really angers me that Trump was not in the least deceptive, and they still fell for it.
Either, but we're going to get into it. We're not going to gloss over it. We're not going to hide it, and pretend like he didn't say it. He said it. I want to address that. I'll give you my take for what it's worth.
Yeah, he'll give us his take, but he is going to gloss over this. He's still going to support Donald Trump, which leads me to ask the question, what exactly would Donald Trump have to do to get you to completely withdraw your support and put him in the same category as Obama, where he belongs? We haven't even talked about the national debt, the dollar devaluation, the massive inflation through his policies. the unconstitutional executive orders, his support of civil asset forfeiture, which is literally legalized armed robbery. There's so much on the list that's against Trump, just like there's so much on the list against Obama. Obama was only able to accrue $8.4 trillion in 8 years. Donald Trump did $8.6 trillion in 4 years, and that's not even counting the $4 trillion backstop from the CARES Act. And the list goes on and on.
I know there's going to be those of you who are going to jump in the chat. You're going to be like, you know, the biggest problem that I have is people just don't listen. They don't listen. They think they read a headline or they read a topic and they think they know what's being said about it. They don't. Remember what I said the other day about critical thinking, folks? Remember what I said about it? And let's just go ahead. I mean, you know, let's just jump right into this thing.
Statists are so inconsistent and hypocritical. Where if you, and to be a statist, to be somebody who's involved in the political parasitic game, you have to walk away from morality. You have to let go of principle. It's utterly immoral, completely hypocritical, and consistently inconsistent.
I'll bring Party Foul Steve on to get his take here in a minute. Let me just say that I don't want to say it now or I want to wait. Because I know people, it takes about 15 minutes for everybody to get on the show. My heart is full. My head is full. My mouth is full. And I want to talk to you guys. I really do. Just encourage you if I can do that. Because I know there's a lot of people that are trying to go, what in the world is going on? What is the president trying to say?
Not all of us. All of us are like, you didn't expect this? You didn't see this coming from the father, the VAXX? You came out against Fauci and Birx, but it was Trump who kept Fauci and Birx in place. Trump was the one that allowed Pfizer to bankroll over $100 billion in profits in 1 year alone. $100 billion in profits for one company.
And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And I'll get a couple of different takes on it. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. Float those emojis. Let me see the American flags. All right. Man, oh man, oh man. You know, you guys have been faithful guys. I'll say that. You've been faithful people. You've shown up. You voted even when you didn't trust the election system, didn't believe the ballots were honest. You dealt with.
If you voted in today's political parasitic system and climate, then you're not faithful to the truth. But he's going to talk about, you got to be faithful to truth, to principle, not to a person.
Every reason in this world to believe that the elections were rigged, you still showed up. You overwhelmed the algorithm. You've rallied. You've been to the rallies. Some of you got put in jail. You believed in something bigger than yourself, and now you're being called, whatever, weak, gullible, past supporter.
You are weak and gullible, very gullible to fall for Donald Trump, just as gullible as anybody was to fall for Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Barack Obama.
And why? Because you dared to ask questions about Jeffrey Epstein, because you didn't just go along with the newest script, because you remembered that justice doesn't get to take a nap just because it's inconvenient for your favorite guy. So I'd say it real loud and clear. You're not the problem. In fact, you might just be the only ones left that are actually paying attention. You're not weak. No one is weak for wanting the truth. Nobody's disloyal for refusing to excuse evil. You're not former supporters just because you still have a backbone. And being accused of such, listen, we'll talk about this for the next hour.
If you're promoting left statism or right statism, you don't have a backbone. You are not using your brain, and you're definitely not going according to principle, because politics has nothing to do with morals, has nothing to do with being principled people, nothing at all. Politics is top to bottom, inside and out. Every nanoparticle of politics is corruption. It is deceit. It is abuse of the people. It is theft. It is extortion.
Real strength, real patriotism is not about kissing rings. It's not about that. It's not about kissing ass. It's about standing for what's right, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular.
That's why you don't involve yourself in politics. If you're standing for what is right, then you don't promote people who believe they have the right to rule you and that you have an obligation to obey their rulership or you should be punished. If you're going to stand for right, you're going to reject all that is wrong. And everything that is wrong in this world comes from politics, comes from the political realm, comes from the idea that there's a person or a group of people who have the right to make laws and you have to obey them. If you don't obey them, then you are immoral and we should punish you. We should exercise the force of the government and point government guns at you if you don't do what we tell you to do, or if you do what we tell you not to do. Unbelievable the warped mentality that people have when they submit to the slave suggestion box, which keeps everybody on the plantation as they pretend to be free.
The face of gaslighting from the most powerful man on the planet.
Here we go.
Now, I'm telling you, that's what it is. It's gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
Trying to tell you that you shouldn't believe what your eyes have seen or what they've actually told you. This is like, quite honestly, it's like an abuser who does something and then turns around and says, that's not what happened at all. That's not what I said. I didn't say that last night. Well, you did say it. It's actually recorded. We're not going off of things blindly here.
He just called Trump and Bondi and Bongino and Patel and everybody in Trump's administration gaslighters and abusers. And he's right, but he's still going to support them. That's the cognitive dissonance. That's the inconsistency. That's the hypocrisy. That's the walking away from and being disloyal to principle.
Patriotism is about getting past all of that. It's about loving your country, yes, and loving truth to the point where you say something's not right here. And I'm not going to shut up about it. Now, some people want you to believe that asking questions about Epstein makes you some kind of a conspiracy nut. But you know better than that. We saw what happened. We saw the cover-ups. We saw the connections. You're going to tell me that we don't have a child trafficking problem in this country? You're going to tell me that there's not pedophiles in Hollywood and in the highest of the elites? I mean, it's a problem.
And Trump is covering up for that problem. Chad. And you voted for Trump, Chad. And you're still supporting Trump, Chad.
We know that. It's a problem. It is a statistical fact. We know it's there. And as I said yesterday, Epstein isn't the disease. He's the symptom. He was the zit that popped up that pointed out the poison that's in the body. You see, we know the fear that happens in the eyes of the elite when the spotlight starts to get a little too close, because we've seen it in their eyes.
Oh, so Trump's the elite now. Yes, he is. He's been the elite. He's in the big club. You and I aren't in the big club. You want to pretend you're in the big club because you got the binder on the White House lawn from the president and the AG. You want to believe you're in the big club. You're not. You're just being used.
And to be totally honest with you, some of y'all have been in this fight longer than the people trying to insult you now. You were paying attention when the media said Epstein's death was this or that, suicided or not suicided, or he got a new face living in Tel Aviv. You were paying attention when the flight logs went silent, when the cameras malfunctioned, when the guards fell asleep, right? When the names got redacted. You've been screaming into the void about this for years. I know I have. I've been talking about it for 5 freaking years, 6 years, and now it's a hoax? No, what it is it's dangerous.
It's a lie. Your guy Trump is lying, and he's lying for a reason. Usually when people are lying about things like that, they're trying to cover things up because it probably implicates him, and you're still supporting him, Chad.
And this isn't going to win me any friends in places of power by saying this. When power gets nervous, it does one of two things. It either distracts you or it turns on you. Those are the options.
Those are our warnings.
So now we got to figure out what's going on.
We warned you. You should have already known what's going on, and you should already have it figured out, at least by now. Father of the Vax didn't do it. I like take the guns first, due process second, didn't do it. Red flag gun confiscation laws, anti-Second Amendment laws, didn't do it. Remember when he said, I like take the guns first, due process second? Who was sitting right next to him to his left? It was Diane Frankenstein going, oh, this is great. We get our gun confiscation laws. And then he bans bump stocks, which isn't just a ban on a piece of plastic. It's the criminalization of hundreds of thousands of people, gun owners who own that plastic, So Trump became their vile enemy, or at least it became more obvious that he was their vile enemy because he's been an enemy all along. And then taking handouts from Rothschild's Inc. and then bowing down and licking the boots of the big pharma industrial complex and then debasing himself and dehumanizing and demoralizing himself by being one of the biggest big pharma VAXX salesmen the world has ever seen. And you voted for him, Chad? That's disgusting.
Apparently, we can pretty much see that we've been turned on. And I say we, I mean saying myself. I don't know how you feel about it. I'd love to see in the chat what you guys think. Have you been turned on? Do you feel a little like this administration, like this president is turned on you a little bit?
By the way, you shouldn't feel it now. You should have felt turned on in his first administration from 2016 to 2020. He literally said that he is responsible for shutting down the country. He literally said, quote, I want to shut down corners of the internet. He wants to keep big money in politics. He criminalized hundreds of thousands of Americans with the bump stock, and that doesn't bother you? That doesn't bother you at all? To add insult to injury, he led a whole room full of people in his first inauguration banquet to a standing ovation for Hillary and Bill Clinton and said, I got a lot of respect for those people after saying, if I was president, you'd be in jail, and he never locked her up. And to this day, when he put out that social media tweet, he called her a crooked Hillary Clinton, and he talked about the Biden administration, the criminal Biden administration. Well, if they're criminals, Donnie, you're the president. You've got all this power. You own the House. You got the Senate. You got the presidency. You got the entire judiciary in your back pocket. You're not going to go after those criminals, Donnie? Then you're not interested in fighting crime. Don't pretend like you are. But Chad here is still going to support you. Even though he feels like you're a gaslighting abuser, he still loves you.
And honestly, there's nothing more I can say because I have a lot of respect for those two people. So thank you all for being here.
To call you a weakling, and I'm not trying to burn the house down. I support Donald Trump. I do. Trust me, I can handle the tough.
I support a guy who is covering up for one of the most disgusting operations known to mankind that exploits little children so that elitists can get their rocks off and then cast them aside like they're just a bag of meat. But I still support Donald Trump. That's you, Chad. Hey, invite me on your show, Chad. Bet it'll never happen. Bet it will never happen. Because I'm going to push your nose to the grindstone and make you admit that you willfully voted for a guy who's just as bad as Barack, or even worse than Barack Obama, because even Barack Obama didn't institute red flag gun confiscation laws and say, take the guns first, due process second. What the hell kind of thing is that? Even Barack Obama didn't debase our currency as much as Donald Trump did in a short period of time. Even Barack Obama didn't drone bomb and launch missiles and drop bombs as fast as Donald J. Trump. 46 bombs a day, according to the Air Power Summary. Donald Trump dropped 46 bombs every single day of his presidency. And that doesn't even count missiles launched.
Language, right? I've made a career out of talking about how people need to suck it up and deal with the mean tweets. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I've got pretty thick damn skin, or I wouldn't be doing what I do. I sure as shit wouldn't be saying what I'm saying. But if suddenly you've become the enemy for staying awake and sticking with it, might just be you rattle the right cage. And I want to remind you of something. Your loyalty was never to a person. And if it was, shame on you and shame on me.
Then what was it to?
Loyalty has to be to truth.
Really?
And to justice.
Really?
And to freedom. Because you weren't fighting for somebody's brand. You were fighting for your kids. You were fighting for the next generation, for the future.
That's what it should be. But if you're for truth, justice, and freedom, then you reject people who want to discard truth, justice, and freedom, and you'll do it for your family. And you're not going to get hoodwinked by another political parasitic psychopath like Donald Trump or Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any of those misfits, those banker-bought, DNC, RNC, corporately owned misfits.
For a country that doesn't turn a blind eye to evil just because it wears the right hat or waves the right flag. And I get it. Some of you feel disillusioned. You feel disenfranchised. Some people feel like they've been played, like the people you trusted are changing the rules mid-game, and that hurts.
You have been played. They have changed the rules. Actually, it's the same rules. You were just too blind to want to see it because it's clear. It's plain as a nose on your face. All you got to do is line up the Obama administration and the Trump administration and go, oh, the policies are almost exactly the same minus just some little variations here and there. But on the majors like currency debasement, bomb dropping, beefing up the military and prison industrial complex, continuing to support the long, costly, and failed drug war, same stuff.
I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't. But maybe this is a refining moment for all of us. Maybe this is when we stop placing our hope in people and start placing it in principles, in conviction, in God. I can tell you where my focus is. It's with God.
God. Which God?
My future is about God.
Which God? The God that doesn't even care enough to give you the Holy Spirit of discernment? You got no discernment. You follow God, but you voted for Donald Trump? Donald grabbed him by the... Imagine that, saying that I serve the holy God of the Bible. I serve Jesus. Do to others what you would want done to you. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. I'm going to vote for the guy who says it's okay to grab him by the pussy. Because you can, because I'm rich, because that's what you can get away with. I'm a Christian. I have moral principles. I have a solid foundation upon which I stand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. I'll vote for the guy who grabs him by the pussy. What a freaking hypocrite, Chad. Really?
Because there's only one that sits enthroned in my life. As much as I try to dethrone him and go my own way, he's still there. The one in authority is God.
Really?
And I'm not trying to hyper-spiritualize anything, but I believe that God brought us to this moment. God's not surprised by today. God's not surprised by anything that happens in human history. And by the way, God didn't get up on the wrong side of the bed. He's not having a bad day. Okay. God has spoken, not out of emotion, but out of an even keel intelligence that's balanced with truth that can transform your life. So that's where my loyalty lies.
And God has ordained that his man for the hour, Donald Trump, will cover up for the biggest pedo/blackmail ring this world has ever seen. I know it's gross and disgusting, but God's got a seal of approval on that. He's making it happen.
And if you need permission to care about child trafficking, if you need the president or anybody else to give you that permission, you've already lost your moral compass.
If you vote for the guy who's covering for child trafficking, and after he started the initiating the cover up, and he continues to double and triple and quadruple down, and you continue to support him, you got serious problems, man. You got, maybe your hat's on a little bit too tight.
So if somebody has to green light your outrage, then they weren't on your side to begin with.
Oh,
so no, you're not weak. You're not past your usefulness. You're not irrelevant. You're exactly what this country still has going for it.
That's not true. You are weak. You are spineless. You are irrelevant. And now you have to take those facts and go, you know what? I'm done being weak, spineless, and irrelevant. I'm going to stop participating in the slave suggestion box. I'm going to get my ass off the plantation. I'm going to live as a free man. I don't need the government. I don't need their permission. I don't need their handouts. I don't need their debased currency. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I'm going to call black black and white white. And all these people are absolute evil demons, if you want to put it that way, to use that vernacular. I'm not talking about literal demons. I'm just saying they are the embodiment of whatever evil might be. That's them. They're in Washington's District of Criminals, and people like these vote for them.
And I want you to be people who know, regardless of what happens, you don't flinch. You're people who remember, the people who pray with their eyes open and their sleeves rolled up, the ones who dig and dig and dig until the ugly truth comes out of hiding. What was it that Jack Posobiec, I think I saw his post on X a little while ago, where Catholic. He said, the only way, God, I will have to look it up. Basically saying you got to persevere and go through. The only way to win is to push through.
Jack Posobiec is another one of those guys that got the binder with Liz Wheeler, DC Drano, Libs of TikTok, Scott Pressler.
We'll pull that up in a minute. You got to be one of those ones that are willing to lose popularity before you lose your soul. You're the
Says the guy who was invited by the father of the vaccine to the White House to get an attaboy, a pat on the back, and a binder filled with a bunch of nothing.
You're the watchman on the wall, and if that makes some people uncomfortable, so be it. Because this isn't about who we like or who likes you. This is about what's right. And I'll tell you right now, I'd rather stand with the truth and be called a weakling than sit silent while evil gets a pass.
Oh my God.
So don't let any shame tactics get you. Don't let insults derail you.
Evil didn't just get a pass. Evil got your vote. On the Democrat side, the evil of Kamala Harris and the DNC got their vote. On this side, the Team Elephant, Team Red, Team Republican, Team MAGA got your vote. It's all evil. It's all disgusting.
You don't let political idol worship stop you from defending the innocent. You got to stay loud and bold, and you got to stay humble at the same time, but stay firm. Because the truth, it doesn't change with the latest headline. The story is just getting too close to the wrong people. You know that in your heart. It's getting too close to the wrong people for whatever reason. But I will promise you this, darkness hates exposure. And if you keep pressing, keep praying, keep fighting, light will break through. And when it does, you're going to be able to stand tall and say, I didn't back down. I didn't sell out. I didn't fall asleep when the world needed me awake. You want to know who's really strong? It's the ones who won't stop until every chain breaks and every trafficker falls. And no matter what the name is on the list, they keep going. And you're not alone. And you're not done. All right, let me tell you about my friends over at Allied Oilfield. We'll talk.
All right, so I wanted to show you that. This is the Stockholm Syndrome that I'm seeing here. It's like their mind adapts to the situation by bonding with the person who's actually in the process of harming them, kind of as a way to cope with their fear or stress. So you've got wound up in this one tight ball. You've got cognitive dissonance, this mental disharmony and this discomfort that's happening when Make America Great Again doesn't look like it's supposed to look because the leader for MAGA is covering up for this destructive and disgusting pedo blackmail ring. And then you've got the Stockholm Syndrome where they're still, hey, I still support, don't get me wrong, I still support the guy who's covering up for the abuse of children. That doesn't make any sense, Chad. That doesn't compute. It sounds like you're still chugging the Kool-Aid and that you're locked securely in your echo chamber and bowing down at the altar of the cult of personality. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. This is just wacky beans. This is whack-a-mole. If you want to support the channel, you can do it for free. I'm not taking any sponsors. I get all my support from you guys. It's not even if you like this stuff. If what I'm saying is checking off and dinging the bells of truth, and you think others could benefit from it, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon. If you want to support further, the links are in the description. But I am telling you, the price of freedom is now and will always be eternal vigilance. These people are not vigilance. Indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. Let's stop securing our own oppression. Let's stop voting for slave masters. Let's get off the plantation, and let's do it today before all is lost. I'll see you in the next video.